Sláinte Leafs Nation and happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Rick Scarborough and you're watching Blue and White Weekly, where we bring you weekly updates on the Leafs and the hockey world at large. I've been asked nicely by our hair and makeup team to not drink this lovely pint of Guinness so as to not mess up my nicely groomed mustache, but that's not what's important. What's important is we have a brand new week of Maple Leafs and St. Pat's hockey to talk about, so let's get into the news. Before we get into the games of the week, let's take a look at some news from around the hockey world. Florida Panthers defenseman Aaron Ekblad has been suspended 20 games after a failed drug test found him to be using performance-enhancing substances. Ekblad claims he was taking something to help him recover from an injury, but come on, Aaron. A guy your age? You don't have to make up a story. We've all been there. It's all right. Everyone's favorite internet family, or least favorite, depending who you are, the Costco Guys were special guests at last Saturday's LA Kings game, where they got the chance to hang out post-game with Quinton Byfield, who scored that night's game winner against the St. Louis Blues. Since meeting the Costco Guys, the Kings are 5-0, and Byfield has a goal in each of those 5 games. For me, that gets 5 big booms. Boom! 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 I really don't get paid enough to do this. And now let's look at the games of the week. The Leafs head to Utah for the very first time ever for a meeting with the Utah Hockey Club, Utah Mammoth, Utah Outlaws. Their name is one of those 3, we know that for sure, and they probably know which one of those 3, but we don't, and I like confusing people. Willie Nylander kicked off the scoring with a power play snipe off of Mitch Marner feed, and the Leafs had the lead, which was extended at the end of the period by Kelly Yarncroke, also scoring on the power play. 2-0 Leafs. In the second period, Simone Benoit gets on the board with a rocket from the point to make this game 3-0. The goal was looked at to see if there was a high stick tip in front from Steven Lorentz, but the goal belonged solely to Benoit. That's not the last we'd hear about Benoit in this one, as right off the next face-off after that goal, he dropped the gloves with Utah's Michael Kesselring and started off the brawl channeling his inner Roman Reigns, going for the Superman punch off the bat. The punch didn't end up landing, and in all honesty, Benoit kind of got ragdolled, but it made for some impressive snapshots and had people like Georges St-Pierre talking about it, which is always good for the game. The fight did not go well for Benoit, and it would prove not to be good for the Leafs, as it sparked Utah into scoring 3 goals in the second period to tie this thing and send us all the way to the shootout. It's in the shootout that after way more back and forth than necessary, Mitch Marner locks it down and the Leafs ride away with a 4-3 win and 2 points. And those 2 points would prove invaluable as the Leafs come back home on Thursday for an important showdown with the Florida Panthers. Heading into this game, the Leafs were back of the Panthers by only 2 points with a game in hand, meaning they could leapfrog Florida for first in the Atlantic with a win in this one. You and I both know that didn't end up happening, but let's look at how that didn't happen. Willie finds Tavares across the ice for a beautiful look, and it's 1-0 early for the Leafs 2 minutes in. Mere seconds after that, Max Domi levels Carter Verhaeghe in open ice, and Nate Schmidt steps up to say something about it, but Max Domi is definitely his daddy's boy, and he tells Nate to eat Schmidt. With not much time left in the first, some pushing and shoving begins in front of the Leafs net, as always occurs when these two teams meet, and the Panthers go to the power play where Sam Bennett finds the back of the net to send us to first intermission in a tie. The second period belonged solely to the Panthers as they controlled the pace of play, the puck, and the scoreboard when Nico Mikkola scored and Sam Bennett got his second of the game, once again on the power play. Max Domi would score early in the third to try and wake the Leafs up a little bit and to chase his Gordie Howe hat trick, but it wasn't enough, and the Leafs fall short in this one 3-2 to Florida and fall further down the standings. Saturday night, the Leafs look to get back in the win column in the Battle of Ontario on Hockey Night in Canada. Spoiler alert, they didn't, and I'm upset about it. After a quiet first period, the second exploded, first with a nifty bit of stick-handing from William Nylander, but Jake Sanderson would answer back for Ottawa to tie this thing back up. And then things just got strange on an awkward play where Linus Ullmark comes way too far out of the net, and Austin Matthews finds the puck. I'd say he shot it into a wide-open cage, but it wasn't wide open. Max Domi was in the net, and he almost got hit by the puck. I'm filing this one under images AI could never recreate. That calamity of errors would be the last gasp of anything resembling a good play by the Maple Leafs, as the Sens would rattle off 3 more goals and Ullmark would stay in the net to make this a 4-2 Sens win. After 2 disappointing games against divisional rivals, the Leafs welcome the Calgary Flames to town on St. Patrick's Day, and that means it's time to salute the past while taking steps to the future as we don a tribute uniform to the predecessors, the 1922 Stanley Cup champions, Toronto St. Pat's. Clearly wearing these beautiful sweaters reawoke some urgency in the boys as Max Domi opens up the scoring 2 minutes into the game. Later in the period, Nick Robertson is handed an unsportsmanlike penalty for sending a clapper into the net post-whistle, which, come on, Nicky, buddy, don't do that, but also, ref, come on. Hitting fast forward into the second period, Mitch Marner collects his 60th assist of the season, teeing up Nylander on the power play to regain the lead. Literal seconds after that goal, however, Robertson gets another sloppy penalty and Morgan Frost ties it back up. Nicky. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed, really. It's okay though, as the goal is disallowed after video review deems Nazem Kadri offside, and Robertson redeems himself for his mistakes earlier in the game as he catches a Max Domi saucer pass to make it 3-1. Later in the game, Matthews also finds the back of the net on a too-many-men power play and extends the lead, and he'd make that happen again to close out the second 5-1. Unfortunately, those 40 minutes of play would be it for rookie goalie Dustin Wolf in this one. The Flames pull him and put in Dan Vladar, but that doesn't slow down the lean, green, mean St. Pat's machine as big baddie Bobby McMahon makes it 6-1. Bad bounce in front of the net would go off of Scott Laughton and into the Leafs net to give the Flames another, but Irish eyes are smiling as the Leafs take a 6-2 dub and get back in the win column on St. Patrick's Day. Looking ahead in the week, the Leafs host the Avalanche on Wednesday evening before heading to the Big Apple Thursday to complete the back-to-back against the Rangers. Then it's down to Nashville on Saturday to square off with the Preds. We'll have all those games for you next week, plus so much more. But for now, thank you very much for watching, Leafs Nation. Be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, go Leafs, go. We'll see you next week.